the multiple Emmy Award-winning Spotlight. What if your beautiful green lawn is actually harming the planet? Why one woman ripped hers out. Plus, we'll tell you what foodscaping is and why it's good for your mental health. But first, how a greenhouse is changing the way we think about a Southern staple.
I think second, third, fourth act, I think collards is here to stay, and it's going to be something that we end up working with for a while.
Collard greens have a rich history that is as beautiful as their dark, expansive leaves. The vegetable has been around for thousands of years, crossing continents and cultures. Their appeal is what drew WashU PhD candidate Antonio Brazelton to leave Huntsville, Alabama, and plant roots here in St. Louis.
I had just finished my 5th year at Bayer Crop Sciences, and I was getting ready to start the PhD, and I was like, man, what crop do I want to work on? What work do I want to do? And so I sent a survey out to some of the urban farmers here in the St. Louis metro region to see what crops they were growing and what issues they were having growing them. And collards kept popping up.
It was around this time Brazelton learned about the Heirloom Collards Project, a network of collard-loving folks that includes seed savers, farmers, chefs, artists, and gardeners.
And right when the Heirloom Collard Project was starting, it was like, oh, well, here's a array of germplasm across these different heirloom varieties of collards. I have tons of germplasm to work with. And so I ended up contacting the folks at the Heirloom Collard Project. They put me in contact with the people at USDA, and we have tons of seed for the project.
His project is housed at the Jackie Joyner Kersey Food, Nutrition, and Innovation Center in East St. Louis. The climate-controlled, expansive greenhouse can hold collard greens as far as the eye can see.
It's made for like basically all winter, summer, fall, everything. Basically, all weather is weatherproof. Basically,
we get crops in, get mulch in, dirt, do multiple tasks. Just mulch, till. Tend to the flowers, water them.
While the Heirloom Collards Project has nearly 100 different types of collards in its catalog, Antonio has 18 varieties he is currently working with.
These vary in a wide range, right, since they're all heirlooms. Some of them are purple, some of them are yellow. Some of them have leaves that are more serrated, like a kale. Some of these are more round. Some of these have a nice glaze or sheen to them.
He tells me there are 2 main varieties found in grocery stores and farmers markets, Vates and Top Bunch. Those collards typically have a uniform shape with rounded leaves.
I'm really interested in how we push sustainable agriculture.
During our visit, the recently appointed presidents of the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center toured the greenhouse and chatted collards with Brazelton.
And I think some of the work that we're doing here, we can actually both be experimenting with, things like collard greens, understanding how we improve those varieties for local consumption, but also how we drive sustainable farming systems. And there's a lot we can learn here, particularly in an environment where we're taking it back from urban, back into a food production landscape.
These collards we're looking at now will be ready to harvest in about 60 days. The project launched in October 2024, which means Brazelton and his team are in their 3rd growing season.
He's a good visualization of what I envision our students that we're working with potentially can be in the future.
Curly Taylor oversees internships with some high school students in East St. Louis. He's paired some of them with Brazelton on the Collards Project.
Response was great. I think, one, they get to put their hands on something, but then also, Antonio talked about that culturally relevant piece. When we're talking to our students about agriculture, when I'm going to schools and talk with them, they kind of get turned off naturally. And I think it's because agriculture, as it relates to the Black experience, looked at in slavery, and we don't really talk about the positive gains and the major transformations that African Americans have contributed to agriculture as well.
When it comes to the Collard Greens Project, it is a labor of love for Brazelton and the entire East St. Louis community.
My grandmama grew collards, and we grew up on collard green, mustard green, turnip greens, all that, spinach, all that stuff.
I grew up eating a lot of collard greens and things in that nature, like collard greens, bell peppers, all that stuff. because my granny cooked it.
We've had organizations like Peace and Progress, I'm a farming cooperative, so the folks who actually are involved in the Heirloom Collard Project who gave us the seed have been out.
Whether it's young people or well-seasoned folks, collard greens is the one thing that seems to connect the East St. Louis community and communities like it all over the country.
In a lot of ways, I saw myself as like the first plant scientist in my family. And I think in a lot of ways, with reconnecting with these collards, it's really given me the opportunity to validate some of the stories and some of the experiences with my mom and my grandma and the family members, other folks who live in the community. It means a lot to me to be able to say I do plant science, but I do plant science in community with a crop that matters. I think I couldn't see myself doing plant science any other way.
HEC Media has 6 YouTube channels, including science, history, art, authors, Black History, Achievement and Culture, and all things St. Louis. Find your favorite, then scroll down to explore HEC Media's other partner channels, all on YouTube.
The biggest source of pollution is residential landscaping, all the lawns, everything that we are putting on, all the fertilizers, all of the mixes to have the greenest grass. That's the biggest irrigated crop in the country. So what I'm doing is pretty extreme, like I've killed all my grass and I'm putting all edible landscaping and have my little microfarm. MOshrooms, it's a regenerative microfarm, and the main focus is soil building and building healthy soil so we can grow healthy food, and I do that by coordinating a residential food waste composting service for families in my community. I go once a week to pick up food waste in Rockwood and Parkway School District. Customers will put their bucket of food waste in front of their garage, wherever is convenient, in front of their garage on their front porch, and I pick that up and give them a clean bucket, and if they order any of our tomatoes or arugula, basil, then I deliver the produce in reusable bags that I made out of my kids' t-shirts, like where you cut the sleeves and the neck out and tie the bottoms together. So they just return the bags or glass jars or plastic containers. And I just wash and reuse everything. Then I ferment the food waste in buckets in my garage. It's called bokashi. It's based on Korean natural farming, kind of like kimchi or like, if you pickle things. So I ferment the food waste in my garage in buckets for several weeks, maybe a couple months, depending on how long it takes. And then after it's fully fermented, then I hot compost it in the duck area over there, or I have I think I have like 70 worm bins in my basement. How I keep everything contained, I just make a little barrier. I have buckets of the bokashi compost. This is what it looks like. There's like this white mold on top. This is food waste that's been fermenting for a couple weeks in the garage, and it gets this white mold on top. I take the wood chips from the pathways and other carbon material, make a big base layer, and then I layer up my browns and greens to build a hot compost. And this is my dishwater. So this is one of the things we do, collect the dishwater inside and use it to water the garden and the compost. Some customers will want the processed compost back, so every spring and fall I will do a compost delivery where they can get their processed compost put in their garden. So I think it's nice to know that your food waste is getting composted, supporting a local small business. It smells better than bokashi. My ultimate goal is to convince people to, number one, stop fertilizing their grass, hopefully remove some grass and put in a pollinator garden, maybe grow some food, and just have conversations about the environment and what we are doing does not just affect us. So I think, we need people to see, like, it's not easy, but, eventually if you put enough effort into it, it'll be something that everyone can enjoy. Hopefully I'm gonna sit down and enjoy some wine in here someday.
Check out HEC Media's YouTube channels, like Who Else Loves History, with a wide range of topics and time periods. New content is always being added. HEC Media on YouTube.
Driving down this quiet street of well-manicured homes in Webster Groves, one house stands out. At first glimpse, it looks just like an overgrown yard. But look closer, and you'll see it's actually part of a growing trend called foodscaping.
Foodscaping is the practice, very similar to landscaping, of utilizing food-producing plants instead of the traditional landscaping plants that we're used to seeing. Whereas we might see things like boxwoods and hydrangeas, Foodscaping would replace those things with things like the pie cherry or the blueberry.
And if you plant it right, you can enjoy fresh fruits and vegetables all year long.
There's definitely foods that in the grocery store or even a farmer's market, there's still some degree of separation from you and your food and where your food was grown. That even small degree of separation makes a difference in the flavor. Yeah, sure, you can go buy a tomato in January in St. Louis, but it's not going to taste like my tomatoes fresh off the vine in July. I garden in all 4 seasons. This behind you here is something called a cold frame. So right now I have cherry tomatoes and Roma tomatoes planted here. But this weekend I also put some leaf lettuce in. And what I'll do is I'll put a cover over this winter. And because it's got that nice south-facing sun, I'll be able to grow lettuce all throughout the winter, and we'll have fresh salads all throughout the winter.
As a physician, Rebecca says that in addition to the taste, there are also definite health benefits of eating foods you grow yourself.
There are plants that I grow that are purely medicinal. So chamomile is one example. I grow that. I harvest the flowers, dehydrate them, and we use them in teas. You're always better off eating a tomato than you are eating a candy bar. But probably there is some degradation in the nutrients. And I think you also have to take into consideration the health benefits of emissions and how long it takes to get there. Is this coming from a place that pesticides aren't super regulated, that sort of thing. So I think there's that value.
And she says those health benefits go well beyond just physical.
The mental health benefits of this garden, I think, are the biggest benefits that I get from it. So I always say that my favorite way to come in from work is to park my car, come into the garden, harvest a few things, get my hands a little dirty, and then go inside. Even just having that walk through the garden and that sense of peace and seeing, oh, that's almost ready for harvesting, or oh wow, that bloomed, or oh my gosh, look at all the pollinators here. That is such a rewarding feeling, knowing that I planted this and I helped it grow.
Part of Foodscaping is also trying to change the culture around grass and its effects on the environment.
We really are stressing to people that if your grass lawn isn't serving you to, picnic on or to play, games on, then converting that lawn into something that provides food and medicine and habitat for both you and all of the insect, bird, and butterfly life around us, that would be a way better option than something that has, no benefit on the environment or to us.
And as the Chibnall family found out, not having a grass-covered front lawn has one more benefit.
And I think people would be surprised at how nice it is to not mow a lawn. My husband at this point is the one who mows the grass. I do all the gardening, he mows the grass. And he's really excited for us to have absolutely no grass in the front yard very soon. We always say you can't eat the grass. So we want to have everything in the front yard be edible.
Next week, these 5th graders turned a book into a dance production. Plus, the Muni gives local students the tools to put on full musicals. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us for a brand new episode on Thursday.